happening.
Great. My last question to you, Steve, is on Bitcoin, which I believe is a fantastic private sector innovation. It's decentralized and it has the potential to be some form of currency worldwide as an alternative to central bank money. And the blockchain technology, which is behind Bitcoin's success, has many other useful purposes, and we're really only seeing the beginning of that emerge now. Now, I realize Bitcoin is very volatile. It's crashed right down from its original highs, but in its defense, it's only 7 years old. And recently, we've seen the value creep up from $325 in September last year to where it is trading today, which I think is just over $600. So my question, Steve, is in the next financial crash, do you think it's possible that businesses may switch into Bitcoin because it may end up being less volatile than fiat currencies at that point in time? In other words, is the free market slowly working its way to getting around fiat currencies to the point where fiat currencies could become less relevant in the future?
I've got an ambivalent attitude toward Bitcoin, but not towards alternative currencies. I better explain that. Bitcoin, you know how long it takes to verify a Bitcoin transaction at the moment?
Half an hour?
10 minutes. But that's still, we don't want to order a cup of coffee and have it go cold by the time you've paid for it. Okay. So you have to have exchanges that act back between the buyer and the seller to enable that transaction to occur in less than 20, 30 times what people actually would tolerate for transactions. And that alone is a technical reason why Bitcoin is just too energy intensive, both in producing the Bitcoin and then in verifying the transactions. So I think that particular side of it means it's not suitable for transactions, and the volatility as well. The fact that the price can vary so much. I mean, I made a line about going out to buy coffee and not taking enough gold with you. I was thinking about Bitcoin as particular as well. If you went shopping with it, you don't know what you're going to need to go shopping that day because the volatility is too high. And it's with the reason Bitcoin is modeled on gold in the sense that there's only 21 million Bitcoins that can exist. So like there's only a certain physical amount of gold on this planet that can actually be mined. But it's a fallacious analogy because for a start, there's no thing stopping somebody else producing another version of Bitcoin. There's about a dozen or so blockchain currencies in existence at least right now, probably more like 100. God knows how many there are. So you can't produce new forms of gold. You can produce new forms of digital money. And the transaction costs in Bitcoin, I think, are just too high because they tried to emulate gold by making it hard to mine in the same sense that gold was hard to mine. So it's that side of it I'm critical of. But frankly, I have despaired of central banks ever understand, except for this, the only bank we've got time for is the Bank of England as it happens, but central banks, particularly the Federal Reserve, are still making stupid mistakes about the nature of money. Politicians are still making stupid decisions about running surpluses, and I just don't think we're ever going to see ourselves intelligently working out how that monetary system works. So in this sort of world, I think I have to rely upon the commercial sector to start developing alternative parallel currencies. And there's a couple of parallel currencies that I'm aware of, one I'm actually going to be consulting to in future, that are trying to develop a different way of backing currencies, not gold, not Bitcoin, but enabling alternative currencies to exist that give us that sense of trust and enable transactions to occur. Otherwise, we'll be stuck in a permanent state like Japan. So I'm a fan of parallel currencies. I don't believe Bitcoin's got the right design, but I do believe we have to rely upon the commercial sector to invent new forms of currency to enable us to get out of the complete miasma that the private banks on one hand and ignorant governments on the other have done with our current monetary system.
Great. Well, thanks for that, Steve.